What is happening, AO? This is going to be our May session for the month. My name is Nick. If you don't know who I am, I run a residential HVAC business based in Chicago. We specialize in sales, service, and installation of all high efficient equipment and indoor air quality. I joined AO about 2.5 years ago and then graduated just a little over a year ago, and I started mentoring, and it's been a great experience, and I got some good questions today, so let's get right to it. Okay, so the first question we have today is from Nancy Lopez. Her question is, what would be great scripts for selling jewelry to retailers? Business description. I design jewelry for women that connects them with life's moments. I'm starting in the jewelry business, and I'm in a city that doesn't speak local language, Dutch. I will approach potential clients in English and want to make sure I have great scripts to close the sales. Her elevator pitch is, I design and make jewelry to cherishes women's deepest emotions. Um, well, let's start off by saying that nobody is born. Some people are, but nobody's born with the knowledge of selling. Um, it's a system, it's a process, and there's something called wordsmithing. And Tom Black actually, and if you look in the resource center, there's a lot of pro code sales stuff that you really should be watching, hours and hours and hours of it. But in full transparency, I hired Tom to write the scripts for my technicians and my office staff. And when a professional does that, speaking to people, you want to be a good communicator. You want to make sure that you're clear and direct and to the point, and you offer some value. Okay. So with that, I would really, really refer you over to Tom. He's done wonders for my office staff. He's done wonders for my service technicians. It gets everybody saying the same thing. So that way, when a customer talks to a technician and we use our scripts, and then they call the office and those scripts are used, it all sounds like we're on the same page, and that makes customers feel comfortable, and it definitely has risen our value as a company and created more revenue. But I would not be a person to write scripts for you nor give you advice on what kind of scripts. I can tell you where to go. The other thing that I would suggest is that you reach out to Edwin, one of the other mentors, because he actually sells jewelry in his store. So maybe he could give you some insight and probably be a really good person for you to at least connect with and try and suck a little knowledge out of him. He is a mentor, so watch for his mentor sessions and start asking these questions. And I'm sure he'll get this question as well. So Nancy, I hope that actually helps you. If you have any other questions about Tom, please reach out to me. I will give a raving review because the results just that's all there is to it. There's been results, and I'm a guy about prove it to me, and he did. So that's why I recommend Tom for anything sales scripts or sales training or anything like that. So I hope that helps. Okay, so next question comes from Heather. Heather asks, what are some good responses when your employees are consistently saying how tired they are, comparing themselves to you, saying they aren't robots like me? Business description. Heather owns a mobile grooming business in Texas. I believe she has 10 trucks now, or 8 trucks. Lots of employees, 15 to 18 employees. So here's what I would recommend, Heather. I get that too. And there's only, 10-hour days, 4 days a week. I mean, my guys would kill for that. So I think you're doing something right. Maybe it's the staff, or maybe sit down and talk to them. Like when I talk to my guys about being tired, I usually find out that their diets aren't correct. They're not getting sleep, or there's something at home that typically is causing them to have some stress in their life. Most of the time, what I've experienced is their tiredness really has nothing to do with, our businesses. It has to do with personal stuff going home. I know from a personal standpoint, which, Heather and I know each other really well. When I'm not eating right, I'm tired, because you're putting crap into your body. So some companies, they give incentives for people to go and work out, and they give them gym memberships, or they have competitions. Like right now I have a competition with Sean about weight. And so like for me, like that's my motivation. So maybe if you can get the girls competing about how healthy they can get, you'll start to see that their energy levels are higher and maybe they won't complain so much. But then again, you just get people that are never fucking happy. And then you kind of take a mental note and as you bring in more people, you rinse and repeat the stale ones out and until you find people that are a little bit more dedicated. But I would venture to say, in my experience, it's usually something to do with their something at home. Whether they're fighting with their boyfriends or girlfriends, their parents might be sick and they're up all night. But that's usually where it ends for me. Is it's something personal, not the business itself. So. Heather, you can reach out, but I hope that kind of gives you a little perspective from my eyes with my employees. So I hope that helps. Okay, next question comes from Brad. Do you think it's important to have a face behind a brand? Business description. You own a luxury e-com brand and want to know if it's important to have a face behind a brand, meaning behind the scene videos, instructions, etc. Customers know who they're buying from. Not every company needs a face. The brand is the brand, but the face behind the brand is important if you're going to be the one selling it. We all know how influencers work on Instagram. We all in social media. But like look at Wendy's restaurant. I don't know if you have Wendy's out by you, but Wendy's restaurant, the spokesman is Dave, the father of the daughter he named his company after. So of course, when I think of Wendy's, I think of him. When you think of McDonald's, you think of Ronald McDonald. But when you think of Taco Bell, it's just the brand, it's the logo. So every brand is different. And, in e-commerce, I don't care who I'm buying from on e-commerce if it's a product that I want. But if it's a product like, of course, I'm fans of people that are in like the snowmobile racing industry. Well, of course, I want to buy the Levi Lavallee gear because I like him because he's a racer. But that's kind of different. I'm buying his brand because I like him. I'm not buying his brand because the brand is cool. I mean, it happens to be cool, but I'm not buying it because of that. I'm buying it to support him. So not every company needs that. I am the face of my brand, but I'm also stepping that back because when I retire, I don't want my customers to leave. So I want to build the brand of Ace Heating and get my image and the way we do business out there more than anything. So that's just kind of my take on that. Okay. All right. Let me shut this off. There's a little thing pop-up coming up here. Okay. So Brad, I hope that kind of helps you, but it's not necessary in every business. But if you're going to do it, it's a long-term game and it's dedication. It's videos constantly with a professional videographer. Lighting, sound, all that stuff has to be perfect. And timing of how long videos are. I know there's a lot of different things that you can cover, but that's really important. And Sean would be a really good person to talk to about social media because, as you know, we've all found him because of social media. So I hope that gives you a little bit of a hand. Okay, so our next question comes from Ashley. Question is, how should I connect with home builders so I don't come off as spammy? Okay, business description. I own a residential commercial cleaning company. Over the last year, I've been developing a master list of home builders and their construction new building locations in the Ottawa area. I want to start reaching out to them, offering them my services, and secure my spot on their bid list. Okay, so introduction emails, DMs, those are really, really important to be scripted. We're going to go back to sales because this is technically sales. Once again, I'm going to refer to Tom because this is what he does for everybody here in the group. Those emails there's a sequence, okay? So when you send an email, you say a certain thing. When you want to set up a time, you're supposed to say a certain thing. And that's all scripted and wordsmithed. So in order to get that right, you actually have to either know what you're doing, be really good at it, or pay somebody to help you do it. And I found the quickest way and the best ROI is to hire somebody that knows that and let them do it for you. And granted, Tom's not going to just do it for you, but what he's going to do is he's going to ask you a series of questions of what you're trying to accomplish in these scenarios. And then he's going to give you some suggestions, and you can tweak it just a hair. But what I found is when Tom writes something, if you tweak it too much, you're defeating the whole purpose of the wordsmith. So realistically, I suggest that you go talk to Tom, and I think you can set up a call with Tom through Calendly and get on a phone call with Tom. But it's been very, very valuable to us. Response emails. We haven't done a lot with Tom for that because we don't need that in our business. But the scripting, and I know, think about it, when you get a goofy DM in your Instagram or your Facebook, the second you read it, you know if it's a professional or not. You want to be on that side of it. So I definitely have to say that a professional, if you're not a professional at that, which you wouldn't be asking that question if you were, you got to hire a professional. That's the quickest way to success, and is finding somebody that knows something that you don't and utilizing their talent and paying for that talent. Just like customers come to you for your talent. Okay, same thing. So you're going to get the best ROI if you just hire somebody to actually help you do that. And it's Tom is a master. So I really, really recommend that on something like that, you definitely talk to Tom. Okay. All right. Let's see here. I think we have another question from Ashley here. Okay. All right. Your second question. Should I do Groupon ads or Facebook ads? I'm a residential cleaning company. Okay. So the only real way to know what you should be doing as far as advertising is try some things. I have what they call the 80-20 rule. 80% of my budget goes to things that I've investigated, audited, and know that work. 20% of my budget goes to new shit, trying things. It's just like fishing, right? If you don't fish or you know somebody who fishes, if you bring one lure to the lake and you throw it in the lake and you don't catch anything and you do that all day long, guess what? You're not going to catch anything. So when fishermen go, they look at the sun, they look at the wind, they look at the water clarity, and they choose lures based on their experience, just like you should be choosing what you do as advertising based on your experience. And the only way to do that is track that. And if you're not tracking your advertising, you're doing yourself a huge injustice, and you might as well just burn your fucking money. Because what I learned when I started tracking is that some of the money that I was spending was actually a negative. So then when I started to see where everything was, once I audited it, I was like, okay, Save On made me $150,000, Clipper made me $20,000. Well, then I'm going to take that $20,000 out of Clipper, put it into Save On, and then I'm going to make $180,000, $190,000. And the only way to do that is auditing. I know Groupon is pretty good and quick, but I also understand that they take the 17%, like you were saying. So I'm not willing to take 17% loss on each call. I'm willing to gamble my money in a magazine like a Clipper magazine or a Save On, which is basically a coupon magazine that comes to the house once a month. But my for HVAC, okay, I market to my existing customers because those are the easiest people to get to call you back because they already know you. So what we found is that most marketing in our residential HVAC area is less than 1%. So if I put 1 million, I think I reach 1 million homes a month in my marketing platform. It's less than 1%. But when I market to my own customers, it's almost 10%. So to me, that's a no-brainer. And like I said, they already know you. They've already purchased from you. They already like you. They've used your service. There's no introduction. That's something that you should be doing. And we remarket our customers twice a year with postcards, and then we email them also reminders. Okay, so that just kind of helps. And like I said, we're seeing about a 10% return on that, which is, every market is different, but for the HVAC business, that margin is pretty damn good. So try reaching out to existing customers. You'll find that your response rate will be so much better. So I hope that helps. And if you have any questions more about what I do here in Chicagoland area with the HVAC business, I'd be more than happy to help you out and talk to you guys. Okay, so AJ asked the question, how do I begin training my first hire? Description. Hey, Sean and Mentors, first question here for me. I'm about 8 months into the entrepreneurial journey, and I'm quickly learning that I don't have the time or bandwidth to accomplish everything. My business's growth agency, and it includes web development. I've had a skilled friend working on a project by project basis for the last 6 months. Okay, so when hiring, certain things are really important. Okay, certain first thing you want to do is how are you going to pay this person? Is he going to be a subcontractor or is he going to be an hourly employee? You have to figure that out first. After you figure that out, you have to have a clear job description. Because if you just bring somebody in and say, okay, I want you to do this, this, and this, you don't even know what they're supposed to be doing. They don't really know what they're supposed to be doing. So we're like for my shop, I have a shop manager, and there's a list Monday through Friday exactly what he's supposed to do and when he's supposed to do it. That's a job description, because if you hire somebody without a job description, you're setting them up to fail, because there's no way to track their progress. There's no way to do the KPIs, key performance indicators, if you don't know what that means. So it's really, really important that you have a job description. You might also want to look into getting some kind of employee handbook to protect you legally from workman's comp. If you decide to do, a W-2 employee, you want to protect yourself from unemployment. So there's a lot of things that you want to set up, but don't hesitate to hire somebody just because all those things aren't done yet. In the resource center on the website, there is information in there on how to set up these kinds of systems and processes for yourself. And also, a lot of people don't realize that you can just Google and do some R&D, and that's not research and development. That's rip off and duplicate. My employee handbook came from another heating company that my office girl went in there and kind of tweaked it to help us, because we didn't have one either. So I was just as guilty. I went, 13 years without an employee handbook. And then every time I had to fire somebody, I used to have to starve them out to make them quit so they didn't claim unemployment on me. And that's no way to live. You have to have a system for writing people up. You have to have an employee handbook. All these things that you will learn as you go, but don't get analysis paralysis and just not hire somebody because of that stuff. You're here in AO, use the resource center, and just get that person hired. But there's accountants in this group. There's HR people in this group. There's so many people to reach out to that you're going to get some answers from other mentors on this same thing. But in my opinion, get them hired, but make sure they have a clear job description of what you expect them to do. Because if you don't write that down, they don't know what to do, and you don't know what to expect, and you're never going to be happy. So make sure that's the number one thing for me. Job description. Let them know what they're supposed to do when they do it. And that way, if they don't complete it, you can say, hey, look, here in your job description on Monday, you're supposed to do this. And on Tuesday, you're supposed to do that. And if they don't do it, it's in black and white. There's no arguing. It's obvious. So that's what helped me make my guys actually more productive. So I hope that helps with you. And like I say, the resource center is a really, really good place for you guys to be in there at night, laying in bed, on your laptop, going over videos and all the systems that Sean has put in place for us. It's more than you will find in any other website is in our portal. So use it. Okay. So the next question comes again from Heather. She asks, what is the best way to get ETAs sent to the clients without the office setting times and adding extra stress to the groomers? I think we've heard of this before. Heather runs a mobile pet grooming. Heather, what we do here, it's built into our CRM system. So when the guys actually leave the call that they're at, they hit on their way, and our system actually text messages them. The reason that we chose this CRM system is because it did that. What we found is that the CRM systems, typically these companies are upgrading their services. So if you've had your CRM for 6, 8 months, 2, 3 years, whatever it is, go back to them and say, hey, have you done this yet? Or do you have a program that works with our program that integrates together, so that way that we have some control over that? Because, one of the really cool things is, I'll just give you a for instance. Last week I hit on the way on my CRM system in my phone because I was going to go see a customer for a sales call. And it text messages them. And then I got a message right back that said, I'm late. I'm going to be an extra half an hour. Can you come a little later? I had only driven, 5 minutes down the road. I just came back to the shop and completed more stuff and then waited a half an hour. But without that, and I know what you're going through, the girls show up and they're not home yet. And now it's a wasted travel time, and then the spot is missing, and you didn't get any revenue from that because either they forgot to call you or whatever. But the text message systems, my CRM does it, but maybe see if there's something that'll integrate with your CRM. And if you want, Heather, I can send you a video of ours just so you can see how simple it is, and maybe you can call the people that you have your CRM with and see if that's something that they can integrate with theirs or somebody else's. So that would be my advice. And yes, it's amazing having the text messages. It was worth every penny extra that I paid per month for that. So don't be afraid of it. It'll make your life a lot easier. All right. So next question comes from Rosalie. How do you get out of your own way to reach your goals in business? Well, that Rosalie, that's a self-development thing, which I'm probably the best one to answer this today. I was standing in my way for 12 years. It was all about mindset. I didn't think that I could ever have $1 million business. I didn't think that I could have a $2 million business. I now believe that I will be at 5 million. And guess what happens when I start believing that? I start getting out of my own way. Pride is another thing that I had to overcome. As entrepreneurs, we pretty much think we're the smartest fucking people in the world, right? And we are. We're a talented group of individuals. But there's just some things that, we're not good at. And it's really hard to admit that, because in the beginning, you're wearing every single hat. You're the salesman, you're the product research, you're the development, you're the one that you test the products on. And then for your case, it's in here and in here for me. And I know who you are as a person. You're a sweetheart. You're just a good human being. But sometimes we just get in our own way, and that's okay. But it's all mindset. It's all thinking you can do bigger, thinking you could do better, and releasing some responsibilities to other people. It's uncomfortable. Nobody's going to do it the way you do it, but you got to learn to accept that. I had to learn to accept that my employees aren't going to give a fuck about my business like I do, but because it's my dream, it's not theirs. So when I released all that shit in my brain and said, okay, you guys can do the work, the things that I was scared of is, well, what if they don't treat the customers as nicely? And what if they don't do this? They're not going to. That's it. They're not you. Okay? But when you set expectations, you keep them at a certain level. And if they fall under that level, a B, I grade my employees now thanks to Tom. If they fall under a B, I get rid of them. If they're a B and above, I can keep them. So get over the fear of letting other people help you, and get your mind around the fact that you can do this. Every day, wake up and tell yourself, I can do this. I can grow this company. I just need to do it. I'm not scared of shit, because I don't have anybody that's going to watch me if I fail. Anybody that's watching me if I fail at something, or people in this group that don't judge you. So for me, I don't give a fuck what anybody thinks. I do what I want to do. And if I have an idea about something, or I want to accomplish a goal, I just go do it. People think I'm crazy because I'm going to open up a company down in Nashville. Well, I have an Instagram account. I'm trying to find employees. I'm talking to marketing people. I have appointments with the people that I can buy equipment down there. It's absolutely fucking absurd that I'm going to do that 600 miles away from my house. But I don't really give a shit. I'm going to do it. That's how I got out of my own way. I just did it, and no fear at all. I don't care. No fear. So change the mindset. Self-development. Mindset. It's all about mindset. So if that is what your struggle is, I think maybe getting yourself into a forum group here in AO, or an accountability group. I don't know if you're in those or not. I'm in forum with Peter, but that's for mentors. But I know that all the other mentors, pretty much, I think 5 or 6 of them have forum groups. And I would talk to Sean about who you should be with. I think there's some all-female groups too, which some people are a little bit more comfortable with. But maybe a forum or an accountability group can help you start to have a mindset shift and start trusting yourself. And I think that when you do that, the results are going to kind of speak for themselves, and it's going to really, really make you happy and shock you that the way you feel. So I hope that you know, because you're a really nice human being, and I like being around you. So I think that you just got to believe that too. So I hope that helps you. Okay, so next question is, let's see here. Unfortunately, I skipped a page, I think. I'm a residential. Okay. All right. Actually, I did skip a question, so I'm going to go back. Um, what is the best way to get to generate leads? And this comes from Ashley again, who owns the cleaning service. That goes back to what I said on the other question. You have to try new things. So in your marketing budget, you want to set aside 20%. For me, not every company is the same, but for me, 20% of that goes to new stuff, and you just have to try things. You can't just be stuck on one thing. Try new things. You're gonna find that some things work and some things don't, and that's okay. I just stopped an ad that I was running that didn't bring in any money in 6 months. It's not that guy's fault. It's just didn't work. So we move on. So that's really the best way to get lead generations is try new things. Whatever works, put your money into that. Groupon's okay. Facebook is really, really tough. Instagram is really, really tough unless you have a firm. And Facebook marketing isn't what you hear on the internet. Okay, it's hard, and the guys who do it have to be really good. You have to spend a lot of money. It's worth it if you have the budget and you have the right team and you have the right systems, but everything has to be perfect. So I am afraid of referring people to Facebook, because when you just buy a sponsored ad for $100 for 2 weeks, all you're doing is getting visibility, and that's not going to close jobs. Got to have sales funnels set up and all the things that go behind the scenes that I'm not a professional at. That's why I hire people to do that. So sorry for missing your question. Okay. All right, let's go here. Heather. Okay, description. Okay. Wow. Did I fly through that today, guys? Okay, good. I just want to leave everybody with this. I've come farther in the last year and a half than I ever did in the first 15 years or 13 years that I was in business, and it's because of this group. It's the relationships that you build. It's the participation. I want to see you guys get in there on Support Saturday and answer questions for other people too. You can take a lot from this group, but you get more from giving than you do receiving. And I know that sounds crazy and everybody says it's touche, blah, blah, blah. But the fact is, I actually coach and mentor Abraham. And I learn a lot by teaching him stuff that I was doing 10 years ago, refreshes it in my brain. So when you see somebody asking a question on Support Saturday, don't be afraid to get in there and share an experience with them, because other people are going to read that. And sometimes, hearing it from a different voice or hearing it from a different person allows your mind to open up and start to accept it. Because if you think about it, there's 25 mentors in here, and we're all going to tell you something a little bit different, but you're going to resonate with one guy more than you are the other, and that's completely okay. It doesn't mean the one guy's bad. Some people like Coke and some people like Pepsi. I mean, it doesn't matter. So getting involved in this group and participating is really, really kind of the key to the development of your business and development of yourself. And the relationship building in this group is really, really like a valued thing that we sometimes forget how valuable that is. I'm really close to Shelly out in California. She owns a lot more trucks than I do. When I first started buying trucks commercially with commercial loans, I reached out to her. Heather from Texas, the girl who owns the mobile grooming. I go to her for a lot of things because she is a systems person, okay? I run over $1 million business, and I still ask for help. I still ask questions. So that's the key to success here. The program will only work if you work the program. Okay? So let's see Fridays. I want Flex Fridays, Support Saturdays, get involved. get in the porthole, watch the pro code sales videos, get into these mentorship sessions and ask questions. You know, you've got, look, I'm I love being here, and I'm just honored to even be named on the same website as some of the great people in this group as far as the mentors. You know, JT, Peter, Sean. I mean, just the list goes on and on and on. Tom, you guys have just no idea how lucky you are to be in this group and have the type of people that we have in this group. Um, I've grown my business over $1 million since I met Sean. Okay, $1 million. Some of you are trying to get to 1 million. I've grown my business by 1 million. And you guys all know I'm at every event. I do everything that I can to participate as much as possible, business allowing it, because I run a very busy business. But just please, guys, get involved. I love the questions. I want more next month. I'd like to see 25%, 30% of the people in here asking questions to every mentor. The more you ask, the more you're going to learn, and the more your peers here in this group are going to learn from those questions. So thank you guys so much. I will see you next month. I hope you guys have an amazing summer if I don't get a chance to talk to you. And one last thing, AO motherfuckers, have a great day, guys.